Peter Vidmar. He came within a half point of claiming the men's all-around title. These athletes and many more are here to challenge for the title of the best in the United States. Good afternoon and welcome to the National Championships of the U.S. Gymnastics Federation. I'm Don Crickey, and NBC Sports is proud to again be a part of this great event. Today, the individual event champions will be crowned in a sport where the spectacular is expected as America's best continue to test the limits of the human body. Rusty Mitchell knows about that. He's a former U.S. Olympian, currently a college coach at New Mexico. Rusty, what are you looking for?
Well, I think every event is going to be exciting, but I'm looking forward to some outstanding combination movements on rings with swing and strength and several triple flyaways. On high bar, I think we're going to see Peter Vidmar do several releasing movements, and Mitch Gaylord is going to introduce a new trick, the Gaylord 2.
The women are also competing. For more on that, let's go now to Bill McAtee and Nancy Thies-Marshall.
All right, Don. Well, for the women, of course, the story has to be Mary Lou Retton. She is 15 years old, 4'10", and has the ability to light up an arena like almost no one we've ever seen before. And, Nancy, the important thing to remember about Mary Lou is she's got a chance to be a factor in all four women's events.
And that's what we're going for today, is the national champion on each of the four events. Now, not since Olga Korbut have I seen an athlete who could communicate so well with an audience. As Mary Lou performs, you feel like you're doing every move with her. I think she's a credible contender for gold in Los Angeles.
And so we're expecting exciting competition among the women. That's coming up later, but first the men. So let's send you upstairs to Don Crickey and our friend from the University of New Mexico, Rusty Mitchell.
Thank you, Bill. We'll start by recapping the men's championships in the first four events, and we'll watch Peter Vidmar of UCLA in the floor exercise. Peter likens gymnasts to test pilots in the right stuff, always pushing it to the edge, looking for superior performance by taking it to the limit.
To the limit he does. He does a full-in back out, just great. 1/10 of a deduction at the most. The second pass is a round-off back handspring double back. Nice stand-up, good flip, great landing. Getting ready for a transitional part. Shows a little bit of agility, scooping through, a little flexibility. Watch now, Don. He stays on his fingertips as he does a press through the middle, right to a handstand. Great control.
Much appreciated by the audience.
It sure is. He's right on top of things of what he's doing. He's getting ready for his third pass, the handspring full twisting dive roll. I think a little weak for Peter.
Well, it doesn't look very weak to the non-gymnast.
I think Pete could probably do just a little bit more risk on that third pass. Meets the requirement with a good balance. Gets ready for his dismount, which is a round-off back handspring, double back flip, in pike position. Very well done.
Peter Vidmar, tremendously consistent in every event, wins the floor exercise with a score of 9.70. Vidmar also excelled when it came to the pommel horse competition, one of the most difficult events in gymnastics. One where the gymnast must move up and down the entire horse, making use of the entire apparatus while performing splits and scissors, and that complex of swirling moves requires such great strength and momentum.
Peter does move around that horse. You know, he walks around the horse like you and I would around the backyard. He's into his handstand position, goes into his scissor movement. Good back scissor in, two in a row. There's two forward scissors, picks up and gets into his dismount where he does a circle on the pommel, travels backwards, goes right to a handstand, and cartwheels off to a very good landing.
The judges agree, Rusty. Peter Vidmar is scored at 9.90. It's going to be tough to beat.
That was a very virtuous routine.
If anybody can beat Vidmar's score, though, it's this man, Tim Daggett, who in the all-around competition on the pommel horse scored a perfect 10.
Maybe a little bit harder in this competition, Don, because there will be 4 judges judging the event. You see Timmy's right on at the beginning, does back more, all on one pommel. Great scissor work. Excellent half twist. Back scissor. Kicks up into his double leg circles, goes down to the end. Now he starts doing a flare across the pommel without using them. Hops to the middle, does a half twist right to a handstand. What a great routine. I don't know if it's a 10, but it was just a neat set.
It's got to be close. Tremendous power demonstrated by Tim Daggett on the pommel horse. An event that as a young boy he found the most difficult. He worked so long and hard at it, it's become his best event. As we watch Tim Daggett on the slow-motion replay, his excellence on the horse.
Well, we're seeing Timmy at his best. This is the last half of his exercise. He goes down to the end. He goes into the flares, which he does extremely well. He hops back into the middle, gets ready for his dismount, which is a Stockley half twist right to a handstand. Just a beautiful routine.
It was beautiful indeed, and the numbers are pretty nice to look at, too. They're not perfect, but they're close, a 9.95, and Tim Daggett wins on the horse. What was it Count Basie used to say? You ain't got a thing if you ain't got that swing, and nobody swings quite like the men's all-around champion, Mitch Gaylord of UCLA, ready to go to work now on the ring.
Mitch starts with a very nice chip, pressed right to an inverted. Swings out of the inverted to a unique back chip to an L. Pressing up to the handstand, straight arm, almost straight body. There's a swinging requirement to a handstand, back up rise to a hand. Getting ready for his dismount. He does a half and half out in a pike position and nails it. Great stick, Don.
Outstanding it was, and so was the judge's number on 9.90 to give Mitch Gaylord the championship on the ring. The best vaulter in the United States, maybe as good as there is in the world, is 19-year-old Chris Riegel of the University of Nebraska. In the vault, speed on the approach is vital as they turn horizontal speed into vertical lift, and Chris Riegel hits the vault and sticks a near perfect one. A score of 9.80 gives Chris Riegel the lead in the vault competition. 5 years ago, he wasn't quite this effective. There's Chris Riegel at the National Sports Festival in 1979 on NBC, getting set for a vault that didn't go quite as well as the last you saw.
The double front, and he over-rotates it. He just has something about him, though. Doesn't he look great on the floor? Got little charisma.
Now, 5 years later, here is Chris Riegel, one of the world's very best, ready for his second vault.
That will be a half and half out or a full twisting Tsukahara. And he nails it right to the ground. It was beautiful.
And for his key vault, Chris Riegel averages 9.70 to win the event. The first 4 individual event winners reads like a who's who in American gymnastics. Peter Vidmar, Tim Daggett, Mitch Gaylord, and Chris Riegel. Spectacular than the high bar. Nobody's better on it than Mitch Gaylord. In the all-around competition, Mitch Gaylord brought the house down with a perfect 10 performance on the high bar, featuring a move called the Gaylord 2. It's coming up now, and it's phenomenal as Gaylord makes it work and gets a perfect score. Mitch Gaylord's coming up in the high bar, but first his teammate Peter Vidmar will perform on this high bar routine. Vidmar may have summed the event up best. He said, you know how it is on amusement park rides where you go at tremendous speeds and loop-de-loop? People want to do it over and over. Well, he said, we do it every day, but not sitting in a ride. We do it with our bodies. This is something.
It really is. Pete has 3 major releases in his routine, and there's the first 2. He just stays right on top of every trick he does. He does great control. Here comes his 3rd release, a front flip, regrab. Yep. There's his giant swing, pirouette. He's getting ready for his dismount. There's a stalder. I haven't seen any errors in the routine at all, Don. He's just right on. 6 to dismount. He's very close to a 10.
That's going to be a tough one to beat. Peter Vidmar with excellence on the high bar. Congratulated by his UCLA coach Sakamoto. We'll watch him again on the slow-motion replay.
Well, here's his Veronin hex vault right into his Ginger, which is a flyaway half twist. 2 exciting release moves. He gets ready for his 3rd one by stooping in. This is something that hurts the shoulders or dislocates. Right to an inverted giant. And then flips again to a front straddle regrab.
Peter Vidmar awaits the news from the judges now, and it's good news indeed, a near-perfect 9.95. In this sport of great daring, there's great danger. Our next competitor, Mitch Gaylord, is very aware of that.
I think more and more courage is playing a more important role in gymnastics because of the amount of difficulty that we're using. In order to score high these days, you have to have difficulty. Whereas about 4 or 5 years ago, you basically had to go in and hit a clean set that was technically nice and you score high. But there's a lot of risk coming into the sport now, and if you don't have the courage, it's hard to throw those types of skills.
Mitch Gaylord has taken the high bar routine to a new dimension with moves like the Gaylord 2. He's going to attempt it now. It is one of the most spectacular things ever attempted on the high bar.
What is amazing, Don, he does a flyaway with a half twist over the top and whoa! Missed over, rotated a little bit too much. His beat was off.
Mitch has 30 seconds to get back up, and while he does, let's watch a replay and see what went wrong.
I would like to see that again. He didn't look like he missed it by much. He beat, flyaway half, over the top, and just was a little bit too far away from the bar.
Now Mitch is back on the bar, using his allotted 30 seconds to get back up. What will that cost him in scoring a fall?
Well, 5/10 automatically. I think the interesting thing here is whether he's going to do a pike half in, half out, or a triple flyaway, and we'll see if he's the champion that he really is. Yep, triple flyaway. Fantastic.
Mitch Gaylord talked about courage a moment ago and certainly displays his own, getting right back on the high bar and executing a triple aerial somersault dismounted. Dangerous moves are state-of-the-art in world competition now in gymnastics. If you don't do them, there's somebody that will to move up and take your place. Here is one of the most daring moves as we watch again the Gaylord 2. Into the air, looking for the regrasp that isn't there. Many times he's performed this with perfection, including a perfect 10 in the all-around competition using the same move. So Mitch Gaylord and Peter Vidmar await the judge's ruling. The number comes down. It's a 9.30. One man has a chance at catching Peter Vidmar for the championship. That's Tim Daggett.
Daggett continues to set the record straight. He wants to make it to L.A. He's a great gymnast. He continues to do everything he has to do to score the 10.
Well, he's an athlete who can move up fast. We'll recall earlier on the all-around competition show here on NBC Sports World, Daggett was 10th after compulsories, but with great freestyle performances, he moved up to 4th in the overall.
It's been exciting the entire meet. He's just done another exciting trick right here. It's a flyaway half twist, straddle cut, immediate flyaway half twist. Right on. With a Stalder hop. Shoots into the dislocate is a requirement. He's getting ready for his dismount. If he sticks it, he can score a 10. There hasn't been any errors in his routine.
There might have been a little hitch on the dismount, but overall it was another spectacular showing by Tim Daggett on the high bar, who has been outstanding in this competition from start to finish. He's been just great.
It's been exciting all the way through the meet. But let's just watch Tim attack the bar. He does a flyaway half twist. He stoops in, almost goes to a handstand, and does another flyaway half twist, which is called a ginger. You know, Don, Tim is just starting to reach his potential.
Tim Daggett and Peter Vidmar share the individual championship in 2 of the 6 men's events, all the performers America's best. That concludes the men's competition, and as advertised, it was spectacular. Rusty, even a great athlete like Mitch Gaylord, though, can have a bad moment like he did in Gaylord 2.
It was disappointing, but Tim Daggett and Peter Vidmar were truly magnificent in their 9.95 performances.
We're going to watch some wonderful women compete. Their competition coming up as the U.S. Gymnastics Championships continue from Evanston, Illinois. Now let's go to Len Berman in our studio in New York.
Thank you, Don.